And we continue to follow breaking news. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk shot and killed in Utah. The shooter not in custody tonight.
Kirk, a well-known podcaster, just in his early 30s, and he was tight inside President Trump's circle. So many questions about the investigation playing out, but frankly, a lot of questions about how this person who is so young rose to such prominence within one of the key families in this country, and certainly the first family as it is right now. ABC News senior executive editorial producer and manager John Santucci joins us now. First of all, the search for the shooter continues.
Yep.
But as people hear Charlie Kirk, unless you're a conservative, you may not know what he was all about. But this backs up about a decade. It was 18 years old and founds this very important group. It's an activist group.
Yeah, and actually I would point out, unless you're a young conservative, you might not know who he is, because this is where Charlie Kirk really started his organization on college campuses around the country. Started at his college, and it just sort of ballooned as a Turning Points USA. So many college campuses had these organizations. Think about like a fraternity, sorority, right? Like you have your local chapter. That's what was going on college campuses. And when Donald Trump went down that golden escalator in June of 2015, it was shortly thereafter that Charlie Kirk, then, in his very early 20s, about 21, reached out to Donald Trump Jr., the president's eldest son, and said, I think I can help you. Now recognize also, right, this was a time that the Trumps, now they are a political dynasty, these were political newcomers. They didn't have any connections, any relationships, any, apparatus, grassroots around the country. So to think this young kid came to them and said, look, I can help you. I can get you into these young people. Look at how that movement grew, guys. Look at the movement Donald Trump sparked, obviously, 10 years ago. But in the last election in November, think about those young voters, right? Those young podcasters that Donald Trump was doing. Charlie Kirk was part of that, saying to Donald Trump and his family, this is how you're going to win.
Yeah. And Trump even said publicly on how much of an influence he was in bringing in that young vote. But let's talk about his influence, because he rose very quickly, becoming very close within the Trump administration, having his own relationships at the Justice Department with the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, and even giving up J.D. Vance, saying, this is your guy, this is who you need to pick. Talk to us about that. How did that play? When did that relationship begin with John Jr.?
Well, really beginning, going back to 2015 and then seeing how it would work, right? In the sense that, listen, the Trumps early on, I remember seeing Donald Trump campaign in New Hampshire. I remember watching Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump going to college campuses and like, what do we do here, right? This is something very new for them. Kirk was one of those people, Sade, that would actually show them, right? Get these events going. These Turning Points USA conventions, guys, they were happening all over the country, right? Big ones would happen every year down in Florida, not far from the president's home at Mar-a-Lago, where he would bring together young conservative activists around the country that would then go spread that message to their friends, their groups of supporters, right? People that would listen to their, TikToks, right? Instagram posts, right? Social media. That was one of the things that became infectious here more than anything. So for them, bringing Charlie Kirk in as a loyalist, right? Somebody that they saw as a kid, guys, right? They saw Charlie Kirk get married. I spoke to a friend of his today who said, I introduced him to his wife, right? I was there when they told us they were going to have their first child. These are people, the Trumps, that have seen this guy grow up.
And it's just important to know, and you're a young father too.
Yeah.
Forget your political background and interest in this. He's a young father of 2 young kids that don't have a dad tonight. Yeah,
and listen, you just noted, I have 2 young kids myself. Could you even imagine, right? You think about what goes on to a family, right? Everything that just falls, apart. I mean, it really is unimaginable. And listen, guys, I think the other thing we have to note here, right? We saw the assassination attempt on President Trump, right? He had Secret Service, right? He had that infrastructure. I think this happened on a college campus, almost chapter and verse, right? Outside, right? I mean, that is really going to cause alarm for not just political office holders, but anybody that really talks about politics.
Absolutely. It's becoming
a chilling
way too
effect.
Charged event. Thank you so much.
Good to see you both.
You're going to continue to stay on this. And of course, if we have any new information, we're going to break in. But ABC News and Eyewitness News are staying on top of this story. Again, any new information, we will bring it to you first.